right, good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday. February 2026, and welcome everybody back to Let's Talk Live here on the LTL Media channel. A lot of people ask me, what does LTL stand for? Well, it stands for Let's Talk Live, because about 90% of the content here, we do it live shows. And what I try to do, just some housekeeping here, what I'll try to do is after the show, I'll place markers so you can skip ahead. If you want to skip to sections of the show, you can do that. So nice to see everybody here checking in. Good morning. Good morning. Well, it's good afternoon now. It might be morning where you are, but it's afternoon here. Jenny's over here. Thank you, Jenny, for stopping by. I appreciate you. Oh, look at this. Valley Girls already stepping it up, starting the show off with a $10 super sticker, 10-pound super sticker. I appreciate that. Rock is in the house. Nice to see you. And let's see. Kane says, I'll never trust the FBI more than I trust any of these PDF files. Yeah, I mean, it is questionable. They are the ones that are releasing it, right? They are the ones that are releasing it. But we're going to get to the brass tacks today. We're going to talk about the former Prince Andrew. We're going to talk about Virginia Giuffre and their relationship, and also Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with both of them. And what I want to do is I want to thank everybody that have, the new subscribers that have come into the channel that found my video that I dropped about 4 days ago. It now since has 170,000 views on it. And basically in that video, and I'm going to drop the link here in the chat, you can go back and watch that. When we start to go through data set 1, I actually messed up in data set 1. I forgot there's 4 folders in data set 1, and I've only done 1 folder. So I want to go back and make sure we go through those. So look for future live streams on those upcoming folders. But yeah, so we're going to do that. We're going to go through basically some current events that are going on that pertain to these 3 individuals, Jeffrey Epstein, Virginia, and the former Prince. And then we're going to get into a historical refresher. I have a presentation that I'm going to bring up. And then towards the end of the show, what I do want to do is go through that 2019 BBC interview with now the former Prince Andrew and his allegations connecting him to Jeffrey Epstein. And what I want to watch for is the deception, the lies, and not answering the question straight. And we will go through that this afternoon. But let's do this first. Let's go into some current events. And we have some confirmation that have come forward in the new allegations with the new drop, and we'll play through this
revelations from the latest release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, and pressure is mounting on those once close with the convicted sex offender. Now, in the UK, the spotlight remains on the former Prince Andrew. There are new details on this now infamous photograph of deceased accuser Virginia Giuffre. She alleged that the two had multiple sexual encounters when she was a teenager. Andrew denied the claim and reached an out-of-court settlement with her in 2022. He also called into question the validity of the photo, but an email seemingly from Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell confirms the photo is real. And many people, including Epstein survivors, are now criticizing the U.S. Justice Department over this latest release of files, thousands of which identify victims. One of those critics is my next guest, Lisa Phillips in Los Angeles. She suffered years of Epstein's abuse, and she's also the host of the From Now On podcast, and it shares stories of survivors and champions advocacy. Thank you so much for making time for us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Arthi.
Now, Lisa, survivors had wanted transparency and had wanted the files to be released, but it's my understanding, but they wanted that not like this with these improper redactions. What's the reaction been like?
Well, the law said all documents were to be released by a certain date, and no survivor names were to be disclosed. I will be at Pam Bondi's hearing with the House Judiciary next week because the DOJ has violated all 3 of the requirements in our bill. Number 1, to this day, many important documents still haven't been disclosed. Number 2, the date set for full release has long passed.
Just going to pause this really quick. We need more people like Lisa, Lisa to step up. One of the survivors that's been very outspoken in this has been talking to Congress ever since stepping up and being a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, and hopefully, getting out there and being able to change laws and putting pressure on our government to change laws about this. And, I was just thinking about this today. I was talking about a friend, and I know that a lot of these conversations now cross political lines. And I here on this channel on LTL Media, I don't give a shit what political party you're part of. If you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're a high-powered person in a position that is a CEO of a company or owns a company or does something, and you have connections or have had connections to Jeffrey Epstein, and there are strong allegations, you need to answer the tough questions as to why, who, what, and when, and where. I don't care if you're the president of the United States. If there are strong allegations and ties to Jeffrey Epstein and his criminal doings and his enterprise, then you need to answer the tough questions. Here we are. We are almost like a week out since this new data dump, since these new PDF files have been dropped. And still, no arrests. No one's been brought in for questioning. This is really getting buried in the media, in the mainstream media. We're not really hearing a lot about it. And I have to commend a lot of the people on X that have been doing the deep dive into these PDF files and this new data dump and exposing all of these high-powered people. And I don't care if it's someone that has multi millions of dollars in the bank or the lowest person in the totem pole, on the totem pole. If you are brought up and your name has strong allegations and ties to Jeffrey Epstein, you have questions that need to be answered. All right, let's keep playing through here.
And number three, the DOJ released the names of the survivors. The most important point here is they were supposed to redact the names and all the personal information of all the survivors, and they didn't do that. And I believe this was strategic and meant to be re-traumatizing and also punishing to put fear into the victims to stay silent.
I also wanted to ask your reaction to what we've heard from UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He apologized to the victims of Jeffrey Epstein for his appointment of Peter Mandelson after revelations of the close ties with Epstein were made apparent in this latest release of documents. Does that apology feel like it goes far enough? And also to that point, we know that Mandelson is being investigated for sharing secrets, government secrets, but not necessarily, and we should make clear here that just because someone's name is mentioned in the files, it doesn't implicate wrongdoing, but there haven't been any investigations open to do with wrongdoing involving Epstein or any accusers. How does all of this sit with yourself and other survivors?
Well, I personally love to hear an apology because we don't get that in the US, for someone just to say, you know what, I apologize for how this has impacted your life. So I commend him on that. Regarding Mandelson, I've always said this whole files doesn't always have to do with sexual activity with minors. It also has to do with holding government secrets. And I'm not sure how guilty he is of that, but he has to answer to that. And I do hope that he does come to the—
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the misconception in going through this too, is that, automatically people just think right away, oh, well, if it's a political figure and they've been mentioned, or a top CEO and they've been mentioned in these files, that they must have been engaged in all this, underage activity or prostitution. And she is, setting the record clear here that a lot of this, the allegations that are in there as well, could be, trading political secrets or being in political matters, criminal political matters.
US and provides testimony on that. And also Prince Andrew, a former Prince Andrew, I hope that he does as well.
We have, and you've listed some of them now, we have seen an extraordinary amount of powerful names that have been listed off in the course of these documents and the release of them. And again, I want to be clear here that a name being mentioned doesn't necessarily implicate wrongdoing, but certainly in our conversations with survivors prior to this release, there had been comments from survivors saying, the public will be extraordinarily shocked to learn of who had ties to Jeffrey Epstein, who may have been traveling with him or had connected.
Again, we're a week out. And this, it's not even just go from like a week. This has been known for a long time. And the first data dump was what, almost 8 months ago? and still nothing. Still
Connections
nothing.
with him, communicating with him. How do you think the public reaction has been to some of that?
Well, that was the whole reason why we were fighting. It wasn't just because of what we went through individually, but it was also because, there's 1,200 survivors or more. And I personally know hundreds, and most of them don't speak out, but they have stories, and they have overlapping stories to ours. And we share a lot of information that has to do with not just people, but institutions that we brought forward. So there's a lot of information out there. We always knew it was going to be very dark and disturbing. My nervous system has not been the same since the last release. But it's necessary information to get out there that these powerful people, billionaires, elites, world leaders, a lot of them were up to no good. And so it does need to be exposed. I'm not quite sure how far people can be prosecuted, but I do believe that Congress needs to do something, and we need to keep going in this fight just to get answers.
It's a very uncomfortable moment for her. Let's go back here. You can see the pause.
Because of what we went through.
Congress actually doing something and talking about, these very powerful people being involved in very criminal activity. Watch this. Let's rewatch that. I noticed that when I first watched through this video.
Individually, but it was also because, there's 1,200 survivors or more. And I personally know hundreds, and most of them don't speak out, but they have stories, and they have overlapping stories to ours. And we share a lot of information that has to do with not just people, but institutions that we brought forward. So there's a lot of information out there. We always knew it was going to be very dark and disturbing. My nervous system has not been the same since the last release. But it's necessary information to get out there that these powerful people, billionaires, elites, world leaders, a lot of them were up to no good. And so it does need to be exposed. I'm not quite sure how far people can be prosecuted, but I do believe that Congress needs to do something, and we need to keep going in this fight just to get answers.
Lisa, finally, I wanted to go back to something that you mentioned earlier, and that is that you feel that it was deliberate to leave those names, some of the victims' names, in the documents rather than redacting them as they perhaps should have been. You said that this was meant to re-traumatize those victims. Of course, you are one of those individuals who suffered from Epstein's abuse. I want to know personally, how were you feeling when you took in those documents, when you see all of these discussions take place? How do you cope with that? How do you feel about it now?
Well, when it comes to the files being released and this whole journey for myself, I try to remove the emotional part of it because it's very personal, but I try to stick to the facts. And the facts are, Todd Blanche stood up there and said, this is over. This is all that's going to be released, and that nobody can be held accountable. But in that release, there was tons of names. There was a lot of information that people can connect the dots. And there's a lot of powerful people that are being highlighted right now for wrongdoing. And I like the fact that a lot of this information is coming out there because there's so many men for the last.
And I think, a lot of victims that are happy that this stuff is still continuing to come out, but there's been a lot of people that have been protesting too that have been victims. And I know that the DOJ had to do a lot of pulling back after that first data dump, the second wave of the data dump. And, when it did hit the internet, I actually just grabbed it and started downloading all of it because I knew that, within a quick cycle that this stuff could all go away. And when they were downloadable, I grabbed it right away. And we've seen now they have pulled stuff back and re-released it. You can't download on the DOJ website anymore. You have to painstakingly go through each file. To me, it's all by design. I think that they just threw 3 million pages at everybody and said, here, have at it. And didn't think that people would find ways to go through it, but we're seeing stuff now. I know there's a site that actually recreated Jeffrey Epstein's email box and has kind of uploaded all those emails that are in there, and you can search by the person's name. So if you want to look at like Prince Andrew or Elon Musk and see the back and forth conversations that they were having via email, you can do that. And people have come up with some pretty ingenious ways to sort through all of this data, but a lot of it's been painstakingly. I mean, I've been painstakingly going through a lot of it too, trying to go through and source video clips or audio clips, certain documents and emails. I mean, there's so much. You're never going to be able to go through all of this. And yeah, and Nan has it right. I mean, they dumped the data, expected people to play 52 card pickup. That's exactly what's going on here. And it's seriously, I mean, it's by design. It's by design because they're like, oh, people are not going to go through every bit of this. I'm going to tell you there are, and people are coming up with very ingenious ways to do it. So let's finish this one out, and then we're going to go to my presentation to give you a little bit of history on Epstein, Andrew, and Virginia.
10, 20 years have said, I've had nothing to do with Epstein. And things are coming out now. There's tons of emails, hundreds of emails going back and forth between them, even after he got his sweetheart deal. So there's a lot of explaining to do on that.
Lisa, I want to thank you for taking the time to share your reaction, the reaction of the community with us today.
Yeah. Very, very brave young lady. Very, very brave young lady. All right, let's do this. Let's bring up my presentation. And again, trying a little bit something different here, do a Friday afternoon show. So if you catch this on replay, I know a lot of the people that have been watching lately have been at night, but I said, hey, we'll try this afternoon. Okay, let's pull up my presentation here. We'll go through this together, and we're going to get some history here. And then what I want to do is go and play the former Prince Andrew BBC interview, and we'll go through that today too. So I just want to put this statement out there. This live stream discusses publicly released court documents and investigation documents commonly referred to as the Epstein files. The appearance of a name, photo, email, or reference in these materials does not imply guilt or criminal wrongdoing. Allegations are not convictions. All individuals are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in the court of law. This context is presented for informational purposes only. All right, let's move on here. So we're going to look at the former Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein's friendship or relationship, whatever you want to call it, criminal activities. I feel better calling it that, right? And let's see. So what we do is I want to get into facts versus speculation, allegations versus convictions. We're going to talk about civil matters here. And, I stick to the documents, the public statements, and the on-screen footage. I try to bring the most factual information that I can. And I want to remind everybody that this is a live show. And what I'll do is I'll try to place some chapter markers after the show. So if you want to skip to certain parts, you can do that. I always get the complaint, your intro is way too long. And I'm like, this is a live show. It's literally 60 seconds, just skip through it. All right, let's go on here. So let's give a little bit of a timeline here. So 1999 is the first connection. So you have the meeting. Andrew meets with Jeffrey Epstein through Ghislaine Maxwell. In 2000, 2001, documents show Andrew traveling with Epstein and Maxwell on Epstein's private jet. And we're going to go into the association. So the association is obviously Epstein is known as a wealthy financier with elite connections. And you go forward in the timeline here. No public criminal allegations against Epstein's are known at this time, and that's 1999. Okay. So we're going to now skip ahead. The socializing and the travel begins. So Epstein and Andrew develop a close friendship during social events, during private events. Epstein hosts Andrew at his residence in New York and London. And then you start seeing photos emerging showing Andrew socializing with Epstein and Ghislaine. And then we start moving on, and Andrew repeatedly takes private jets to various Epstein locations. All right, moving along in the timeline. So we have allegations made public. Giuffre claims start to surface in 2001. Virginia Giuffre alleges that she was trafficked by Epstein to Prince Andrew. At that time, it was Prince Andrew, when she was 17 years old, prompting significant media scrutiny and Prince Andrew's ongoing denials. In London, she states in 2001, when she was 17, in New York and Epstein Island, which is Little St. James, on later occasions. And Andrew, at this point, and still long denied these claims, and still long denies these claims. Moving on here. So we have the criminal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein in 2005 through 2006. U.S. federal authorities begin investigating Epstein for sex crimes involving minors. We have the guilty plea in 2008. Epstein pleads guilty to solicitation of a minor in Florida. Then we have the public criticism, a plea deal, and a sentence face widespread public and media criticism. And then we have the registration. Epstein is required to register as a sex offender following his conviction. Now, we have the continued contact after the conviction. We have Andrew and Epstein meeting. In 2010, Andrew was photographed walking with Jeffrey Epstein in Central Park, raising significant controversy regarding their relationship post Epstein's conviction for soliciting a minor. So the friendship or relationship or whatever this is not cut off at this point. They're still meeting and still hanging out. So you have the contact continues. In 2010 to 2011, continued contact after conviction. In late 2010, Epstein's house arrest ends in September. Newly released DOJ documents show Andrew inviting Epstein to Buckingham Palace shortly after a highly controversial revelation. In February 2011, an email from Andrew to Epstein reads, quote, "We are in this together," urging further contact even after public scrutiny of photos linking the then prince, to Epstein in Virginia. In 2011, media criticism grows over Andrew's association with Epstein. His position as UK trade envoy ends. Now we move ahead in the timeline. We have 2019, and we're going to go through that and play that through today on the show. BBC Night News interview, Prince Andrew, again, the prince at that time, denies allegations. 2019, Andrew's infamous BBC Nightly interview regards his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was recorded on November 14, 2019 at Buckingham Palace and broadcast on November 16, 2019. Conducted by Emily Mathis, the interview aimed to address allegations but was widely criticized for his lack of remorse. Moving on. Now we have 2019, the arrest and death of Jeffrey Epstein. July 2006, 2019, Epstein is arrested on federal charges of sex trafficking of minors. Now we have August 10, 2019, the death, wink, wink. Epstein dies in jail while waiting for trial, ruled a suicide, wink, wink. And we go on, his death reignites global scrutiny of his connections and associates in the aftermath. We move forward in the timeline. Allegations enter the courts. Civil filings implicate still then Prince Andrew. 2019, the U.S. legal case involving Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell make many allegations public. In 2022, the civil suit settlement, out-of-court resolution reached. In 2022, Andrew settles a civil lawsuit with Virginia Giuffre, resulting in no admission of liability. It's unbelievable. While drawing significant media attention and prompting his withdrawal from the royal duties. And to this day, right now, they don't want him. They have thrown him out. The royal staff, if that's what you want to call it, I'm hearing he's been thrown out, and they want nothing to do with him. They will not work for him. And obviously, in this civil settlement, he states no wrongdoing at all. See, Virginia's passing on March 31st, 2025. Virginia Giuffre states in an Instagram post that she had been involved in a collision with a school bus traveling approximately 70 miles an hour. What is a school bus traveling at 70 miles an hour? She said that although she was initially banged up and bruised and returned home after the crash, her condition later worsened and she was taken to a hospital, according to Giuffre. Doctors informed her that she had gone into renal failure and has been and only has 4 days to live. She was later discharged from the hospital. Members of Giuffre's family said the bus driver left the scene with a bus full of distressed children, stating he would file a police report. Who does that? Western Australia police later confirmed that on March 25th, 2025, they received a report from the bus driver regarding a minor collision between a bus and a car near Perth on March 24th, 2025, that had no injuries were reported. Giuffre dies by suicide at her home in Western Australia on April 25th, 2025. She was 41 years old. Absolutely scary shit. Absolutely scary shit. If you guys can do me a favor, smash that like button for me. I would appreciate it. It does wonders for the algorithm. Okay, so we have the release of the files moving forward in the timeline. So we have the new evidence in 2025. After much public outrage and attention, the DOJ releases previously sealed emails, photos, and videos to the public, revealing new details. October 2025, King Charles III formally strips Andrew of his prince title and other royal honors due to ongoing controversy. And then we have now, up to date, early 2026, the DOJ releases 3 million more documents, photos, videos related to Jeffrey Epstein. Discussions on accountability intensify, questioning the handling of past events. New allegations that Epstein trafficked another woman for Andrew in 2010. That's with this latest data dump. And the reports reveal that the associations continue to coordinate with Epstein, even when Andrew publicly denied contact. And here we are, a week out, no arrest, no one being brought in for questioning, no one being turned in, and no new investigations. So we're going to have to wait now for the Oversight Committee on February 26th. And now we're hearing House Committee and Oversight of the Government Reform Chairman James Cormier today announced that former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary Hillary Clinton have agreed to appear for transcribed film depositions to face questioning as part of the investigation related to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's crimes. Former President Clinton will appear for a deposition on February 27th, 2026, and former Secretary Clinton will appear for a deposition on February 26th, 2026. Let me ask you guys, how many people think, and this is just, I don't understand how this is going to get handled. How many people think that we're going to hear a lot of Fifth Amendment privilege put into these testimonies? If you think we're going to hear a lot of Fifth Amendment insertion in these testimonies, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't think, put a 2. Because with the overmounting evidence that is in the Epstein files that have implicated the Clintons having strong ties to Epstein, how are they going to sit there and explain this away to the American people and the general public and the people around the world? How do you explain that away? You didn't take the plane just to go, sea-doing over on Epstein Island. You didn't take the plane to go pick up Chick-fil-A. So, let's move on. Okay, share my screen here. Okay, let's go back to 2020, and then we'll get into the BBC interview. This was from Virginia back in...
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. We are hearing from one of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims. Her name is Virginia Roberts Giuffre. In her first interview since Ghislaine Maxwell was denied bail this week, Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. Now, this is the first time that Maxwell has faced criminal charges in connection with Epstein, despite accusations against her that extend back more than 2 decades now. Giuffre claims Maxwell, along with Epstein, recruited, groomed, and abused her. She lives in Australia now. She's married with 3 children, and we talked to her yesterday. She told us that she thinks Ghislaine Maxwell should spend the rest of her life behind bars.
She is a monster. She's worse than Epstein. She did things even worse than Epstein did. She was vicious. She was evil, and she was a woman.
Her lawyers have said Ghislaine Maxwell is not a Jeffrey Epstein, that she has been a victim of media spin.
They're doing their job, but I know that woman. I've known her really well. Put it this way. Epstein was Pinocchio, and she was Geppetto. She was the guy controlling
the strings.
Jeffrey. Yep, she was pulling the strings. She had his money. He had her contacts. But Ghislaine was much more conniving and smart than Epstein ever was.
Virginia Roberts Giuffre says she first met Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell when she was just 16 and alleges that she was forced to have sex with Britain's Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions. She was 17 at the time. He has denied that and says it's possible this picture with his arm around her waist was doctored.
Well, guess what? It's not. It's not. It's been confirmed. It's a real photo. I mean, come on, man. Doctored photo. Give me a break.
Is there any way you could have had sex with that young woman or any young woman trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein in any of his residences?
Look at him.
No.
Squirming.
Prince Andrew should be panicking. He knows he's guilty. He needs to be held accountable. We need to show the world that the rich and the mighty can fall too.
Do you think that Ghislaine's life is in danger?
Absolutely. If she squeals on some of the people that she has videos on, they won't be happy with her talking about that.
And when you say that she has
Yeah, it is
videos,
shuffling
where she has
in the
knowledge of
seat.
videos that exist about people,
Shuffling
people
in the
like
seat
who?
gives
People
it away,
well-known
too.
names?
Very well-known names, the government officials, the politicians, the royalty, they were taping everybody every moment when you walked into the New York mansion, to Palm Beach. Everything was being filmed.
Do you think people knew they were being taped?
No,
No.
I do not. Not at all.
Giuffre alleges Maxwell and Epstein were blackmailing the wealthy and the powerful. She says Maxwell's arrest marked a major turning point in the fight for justice.
Today, we announced charges against Ghislaine Maxwell
Oh, we're going to go through it,
for
Mary.
helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually exploit and abuse multiple minor girls.
It was just surreal. It was momentous. It's one of those life moments that I'll never forget.
Virginia, how did you meet her and what was her pitch to you?
And I'm working at Mar-a-Lago, loving it. I'm working in the spa area. I was reading about anatomy and massage, and that's when Ghislaine came up to me and said, "Oh my God, you're reading a book about massage." And long story short, she told me that she knew of a man who was looking for a traveling masseuse. And if he liked me, then I would get educated and I would become a real massage therapist. So yeah, it was a dream of a lifetime until I got there, and the abuse was immediate.
It has been reported that they would prey on young girls who were vulnerable.
She could smell the vulnerability on a person. I told them a little bit about my past and how I'd been abused.
And that's how they get in.
Immediately.
Because that's the cycle. What they look for is people that have been, beaten down, haven't had a good past, maybe with family or relationships, with friends, probably have been abused in some prior situations. And then they look to build these people up. And that's the grooming process. They're building trust through that process. And then they get them and put them in very compromising positions and very uncomfortable positions. And then you're like, well, as a person that's in this position, you just kind of go along with it, and that's grooming. That's what happens. They build you up. They take you on these vacations. They give you money. They promise you, worldly things. And that's how they get in with you. Sick.
It was
Very
like the Cheshire smile is what I call it. And I asked her, I said, why are you having all these girls come in and sleep with your boyfriend? And she was like, so I don't have to do it all the time. So she made like a joke out of it.
Why do you think she did it?
She did it to keep Jeffrey happy, for sure. She did it because she loves the control over people. Jeffrey was a sick pedophile, but she was the mastermind.
What would justice look like for you when it comes to Ghislaine Maxwell?
I would like to see Ghislaine stay in jail forever. I'd like her to apologize for what she's done to me and so many others.
When Jeffrey Epstein took his own life, many of the victims/survivors felt that they had been robbed, that they did not get their day in court.
It would have been great to look at him in court and say, you know, you hurt me, you took away my innocence, you took away my youth, but he took that away from us too. I'm really hoping we get to do this with Ghislaine.
Does the buck stop with Ghislaine Maxwell, in your opinion?
No, the buck stops when every single monster gets held accountable and our children are safe. Not just my monsters, but all the monsters. And we need everyone's help.
Yeah.
Maxwell has pleaded not guilty to the charges against her and denies any wrongdoing. Virginia Roberts Giuffre's claims are not part of this indictment. Maxwell's attorneys declined to comment on her accusations.
Wow. Yeah. You know, that's where we're at. And, you know, Virginia passed 2025. Sad, very sad story. All right, let's get into part 3 here in my presentation. We're going to go through the 2019 BBC interview with then, at the time, Prince Andrew, and we're going to talk a lot about Virginia and Epstein's relationship and Ghislaine's relationship with Prince Andrew. So we'll hear from that. And, you know, just look at all these things like, why would you think that Andrew would agree to this interview? Well, he said that he wanted to do it to rehabilitate his reputation pending his friendship with Epstein. And what did, you know, the BBC wanted to get out of this? Obviously, the truth, and to get this guy on camera and to see how he was going to react to all of these tough questions. So the thing that I want you guys to look for, let's look at the language. Let's look at a lot of deflection. We're going to see tons of body language in this. And again, I'm not a body language expert, but I can fucking tell when someone's jostling in their seat and moving around and their eyes are shifting and they're not wanting to answer questions or stuttering. They're probably being very deceptive in their answers. So let's pull this up and go through this and review it. And please make sure to smash that like button down below. I'm going to just speed it up just slightly a little bit here. And here we are. Let's go.
So we've come to Buckingham Palace in highly unusual circumstances. Normally, we'd be discussing your work, your duty. We'll come on to that. But today, you've chosen to speak out for the first time.
Let me just get this in there. Jamie, thank you so much. A £5 super chat. I appreciate it. You said excellent coverage, Brian. Thank you. And again, you can go back and look at my live streams on my homepage of my coverage of the Epstein files. If you're watching this back on replay, or if you want to just check out the stream after, I'll drop the link here to the one that kind of set it all off. Right now, it's got about 170,000 views on it. And we went through data set 1. And I still have more to go through in that data set. So I'll be revisiting that as well. But, you know, my main thing here is what I want to do is start doing some profiles on high-powered people that have been alleged to have connections with Jeffrey Epstein. And I think that we need to point out the history of it and how they've been involved and what is going to happen in the ramifications from all of that, and hold these people accountable. So here we go. We'll play through this.
Why have you decided to talk now?
Because there is no good time to talk about Mr. Epstein and all things associated. We've been talking to Newsnight for about 6 months about doing something around the work that I was doing. And unfortunately, we've just not been able to fit it into either your schedule or my schedule until now. And actually, it's a very good opportunity. And I'm delighted to be able to see you today.
As you say, all of this goes back to your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. How did you first become friends? How did you meet?
Well, I met through his girlfriend back in 1999, and I'd known her since she was at university in the UK. And it would be, to some extent, a stretch to say that as it were, we were close friends. I mean, we were friends because of other people. And I had a lot of opportunity to go to the United States, but I didn't have much time with him. I suppose I saw him once or twice a year, perhaps maybe maximum of 3 times a year. And quite often, if I was in the United States and doing things, and if he wasn't there, he would say, well, why don't you come and use my houses. So I said, that's very kind. Thank you very much indeed.
Funny, losing eye contact, turning away, deflecting. I mean, deflection has already started, and we're what? A minute. We're not even 2 minutes into the video. He's already deflecting. Oh, it wasn't much of a relationship. And every time he's answering, his eyes, he's not looking her in the eyes.
But it would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend. But he had the most extraordinary ability to bring extraordinary people together. And that's the bit that I remember, is going to the dinner parties where you would meet academics, politicians, people from the United Nations. I mean, it was a cosmopolitan group of what I would describe as US eminence.
Was that his appeal then? Was that what you, because you were perceived by the public as being the party prince. Was that something you shared?
I think that's also a bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title, because I never have really partied.
Well, because you've been around him for a long time, since 1999, and it's been pretty publicly documented that you have major ties to him. That's why you're the prince. That's why they called you the prince. I mean, look, we're 2 minutes in, still major deflection. Jamie, thanks so much. $5 super chat. Says a very royal scandal on BBC is the dramatization of how Emily got this interview by Emily and her crew. Excellent watch. I'll have to check that out. Okay, let's go.
I was single for quite a long time in the early 80s. But then after I got married, I was very happy. And I've never really felt the need to go and party. And certainly going to Giuffre's was not about partying. Absolutely not.
You said you weren't very good friends, but would you describe him as a good friend? Did you trust him?
Yes, I think I probably did. But again, I don't go into a friendship looking for the wrong thing, if you understand what I mean. I'm an engaging person. I want to be able to engage. I want to find out. I want to learn. And so you have to remember that I was transitioning out of the Navy at the time. And in the transition, I wanted to find out more about what was going on, because in the Navy, it's a pretty isolated business because you're out at sea the whole time. And I was going to become the special representative for international trade and investment. So I wanted to know more about what was going on in the international business world. And so that was another reason for going there. And the opportunities that I had to go to Wall Street and other places to learn whilst I was there were absolutely vital.
He was your guest as well. In 2000, Epstein was a guest at Windsor Castle and at Sandringham. He was brought right into the heart of the...
She's whacking him. I love it. She's letting him go on, and then she's going to bring it right back. I'm going to give you the timeline. Here it is. You were with him in 2000, and you're just going to watch the circle that he plays here. You know, he's going to deny and deflect. He's not going to answer any of the questions straight, and he's going to try to explain away everything.
Royal family at your invitation.
But certainly at my invitation, not at the royal family's invitation. But remember that it was his girlfriend that was the key element in this. He was the, as it were, plus one to some extent in that aspect.
Am I right in thinking you threw a birthday party for Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, at Sandringham?
No, it was a shooting weekend.
A shooting weekend.
Just a straightforward shooting weekend.
But during
Very
these
true,
times
Julie.
that he was a guest at Windsor Castle at Sandringham, the shooting weekend,
Yeah.
we now know that he was and had been procuring young girls for sex trafficking.
We now know that. At the time, there was no indication to me or anybody else that that was what he was doing. And certainly,
He's like, no, I didn't know anything. You see his head go back, kind of like, I didn't know anything. No, really? The body language.
when I saw him either in the United States,
No eye
when I
contact.
saw him in the United States, or
No
when I
eye
was staying in his
contact.
houses in the United States, there was no indication, absolutely no indication.
No
and if
eye
there
contact.
was, you have to remember that at the time, I was patron of the NSBCC's Full Stop campaign, so I was close up with what was going on in those time about getting rid of abuse to children. So I knew what the things were to look for, but I never saw them.
So you would have made that connection because you stayed with him, you were a visitor, a guest on many occasions at his homes, and nothing struck you as suspicious during that whole time.
Stop.
Just for the record, you've been on his private plane.
Yes.
You've been to stay on his private island.
Yes.
You've stayed at his home in Palm Beach.
Yes.
Yep.
You visited Ghislaine Maxwell's house in Belgravia in London.
Yes.
So in 2006, in May, an arrest warrant was issued for Epstein for sexual assault of a minor.
Yes.
Oh, man. Look how uncomfortable he is right now. Oh, boy. Here it comes. He is shifting. Look at him.
He was invited to Windsor Castle to your daughter, Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday. Why would you do that?
Because I was asking Ghislaine.
Yeah.
But even so, at the time, I don't think certainly I wasn't aware when the invitation was issued what was going on in the United States. And I wasn't aware until the media picked up on it, because he never said anything about it.
He never discussed with you the fact that an arrest warrant had been issued. No. So he came to that party knowing police were investigating him.
Well, I'm not quite sure whether was it police that were, I don't know. You see, this is the problem.
It was the Palm Beach.
Oh, really? Were they? Look at them. Oh, you don't say. This is just classic deflection, denial. I'm going to try to spin this all away.
Police at the time.
But I mean, I'm afraid, you see, this is the problem. There's an awful lot of this was going on in the United States, and I wasn't a party to it, and I knew nothing about it.
Dude.
In 2008, he was convicted of soliciting and procuring a minor for prostitution. He was jailed. This was your friend. How did you feel about it?
Well, I ceased contact with him after I was aware that he was under investigation, and that was later on in 2006. And I wasn't in touch with him again until 2010. So I just
wait a minute here. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I guess maybe I'm just a fucking normal, average, everyday guy. Okay. If I got one of my friends or associates that I'm hanging out with, and there's been some allegations, or how about this? You've been convicted of some pretty serious shit against minors. Sorry. I'm not going to go back and hang out with that person. Don't want to be around people like that. So he says, well, hey, listen, I stopped talking to him but I went and hung out with him in 2010. Okay. All right, bro. Good stuff. Yep. All right.
It was one of those things that if somebody's going through that sort of thing, well, I'm terribly sorry, I can't be.
So no contact.
No contact.
When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there.
No.
Bullshit.
He was released in July. Within months, by December of 2010, you went to stay with him at his New York mansion. Why? Why were you staying with a convicted sex offender?
Right.
Yeah.
I have always, ever since this has happened, and since this has become, as it were, public knowledge that I was there, I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do? Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together.
You couldn't fucking make a phone call? Couldn't send a text message? How about this? You guys all loved emailing each other. Couldn't send him a fucking email? Nah, I had to go there and just tell him in person. Look, it's been, listen, it's been 4 years since we hung out. Probably not a good idea that we continue to hang out. Nice excuse.
And I had a number of people counsel me in both directions, either to go and see him or not to go and see him. And I took the judgment call that because this was serious, and I felt that doing it over the telephone was the chicken's way of doing it. I had to go and see him and talk to him. And
go see a convicted sex predator. Yeah, I just felt like doing this over the phone was probably not the best way to do it. Got to break off the relationship in person. That makes sense.
I went to see him, and I was doing a number of other things in New York at the time, and we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park.
Why was
and that was the conversation, coincidentally, that was photographed, which was when I said to him, I said, look, because of what has happened, I don't think it is appropriate that we should remain in contact. And
no, that's like something that you say to like a girlfriend or a boyfriend when you're breaking up. You know, this is what this sounds like. Hey, you know what? It's probably not the greatest idea that we see each other anymore. We don't have anything in common. That's the things that you do in person. To stop saying that you want to hang out with a convicted sex predator, you don't go there in person and go, yeah, this, you know, we got to break off this friendship, this relationship.
Mutual agreement during that walk in the park. We decided that we would part company, and I left, I think it was the next day. And to this day, I never had any contact with him from that day forward.
What did he say when you told him that you were breaking up the friendship?
He was what I would describe as understanding. He didn't go into any great depth in the conversation about what I was doing or what he was doing, except to say that he'd accepted whatever it was, a plea bargain. He'd served his time, and he was carrying on with his life. You see what I mean? And I said yes, but I'm afraid to say that's as may be. But with all the attendant scrutiny on me, then I don't think it is a wise thing to do.
Who advised you then that it was a good idea to go and break up the friendship? Did that come from the palace? Was Her Majesty the Queen involved?
No. That came from. So there were a number of people who so some people from my staff, some people from friends and family I was talking to, and I took the decision that it was I had to show leadership, and I had to go and see him, and I had to tell him that's it.
That was December of 2010.
Yep.
He threw a party to celebrate his
you were
release,
there.
and you were invited as the guest of honor.
Oh, in 2010? That certainly wasn't a party
Really?
to celebrate his release in December, because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think, at the dinner. If there was a party, then I'd know nothing about that.
You were invited to that dinner as a guest of honor.
Well, I was there, so there was a dinner. I don't think it was quite as you might put it, but yeah, okay, I was there at a dinner. Yeah.
I'm just trying to work this out, because you said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long.
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted
we know what you were
sex
doing.
It was a convenient place to stay. I've gone through this in my mind so many times.
Yeah, you went through it to explain it away. And by the way, this is an excellent interview. She's not letting him off the hook. These aren't softball questions. I love this. Hitting him hard and not letting him run the circle on her. Not letting her not letting him run the circle on this, and not letting him try to explain this shit away.
End of the day, with the benefit of all the hindsight that one could have, it was definitely the wrong thing to do. But at the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do. And I admit fully that my judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable, but that's just the way it is.
Because during that time, those few days, witnesses say they saw many young girls coming and going at the time. There is video footage of Epstein accompanied by young girls. And you were there staying in his house, catching up with friends.
If they were, then I wasn't a party to any of that. I never saw them. I mean, you have to understand that his house, I described it more as almost as a railway station, if you know what I mean, in the sense that there were people coming in and out of that house all the time. What they were doing and why they were there, I had nothing to do with. So I'm afraid I can't make any comment on that, because
No, not me. I didn't know what was going on. Come on, bro. I mean, if you're staying there for a couple, you know what's going on. You know people who are coming and going.
I really don't know.
Another guest was John Brockman, the literary agent. Now, he described seeing you there getting a foot massage from a young Russian woman. Did that happen?
No.
You're absolutely sure, or you can't remember?
Absolutely sure.
So John Brockman's statement is false.
Well, I don't know Mr. Brockman, so I don't know what he's talking about.
But that definitely wasn't you getting a foot massage from a Russian girl in Giuffre Epstein's house.
No.
It might seem a funny way to break off a friendship, a 4-day house party of sorts with a dinner. It's an odd way to break up a friendship.
That's a very stark
From an underage girl
way of putting it. Yes, you're absolutely right. But actually, the truth of it is that I actually only saw him for about the dinner party, the walk in the park, and probably passing in the passage.
So let's go to that Central Park walk, which was snapped.
Come on,
Friends
bro.
of yours suggest that Epstein wanted that photo taken. Perhaps he'd even set it up. Do you worry that you were being played?
Again, new information is coming out since his suicide has made us reappraise that walk in the park. We can't find any evidence, or my staff and my people and I can't find any evidence to suggest that that was what he was doing. I mean, you can look at it in so many different ways. The fact of the matter is that somebody very cleverly took that photograph. It wasn't, as far as I remember, nor do my security people remember anybody being present or close.
Man, how crazy is that, though? Yeah, that come on. Yeah. Amy, I tend to agree with you now, looking into this and really seeing everything that's come out. How's that? How's that to just be put out on the grandest stage of the world, Central Park, and be photographed, to be set up in Central Park to be photographed, the grandest stage in the world. You know, I'm going to get you and you're going to be caught in Central Park with me.
Because there were enough security around. I mean, there are photographs of the security people are around in the photo. So I mean, he could have done, but I
guess what I'm asking is, do you feel that you were part of Epstein's public rehabilitation?
Oh, no. Funny enough, I don't. No. I mean, if he was doing, if that photograph was taken for that with that purpose in mind, then it doesn't equate to what actually happened.
So why wouldn't you announce this breakup when you got back? Why wouldn't you publicly explain what you'd done? Did you worry that he had something that could compromise you?
No.
Do you regret that trip?
Yes.
Do you regret the whole friendship with Epstein?
Now, still not. And the reason being is that the people that I met and the opportunities that I was given to learn, either by him or because of him, were actually very useful. He himself,
I bet they were
not, as it were, as close as you might think. We weren't that close. So therefore, I mean, yes, I would go and stay in his house, but that was because of his girlfriend.
Oh my God.
Not because of him.
Was that visit, December of 2010, the only time?
You went out and hung out at someone's house and spent time. You slept in their house. You came and went, but you're saying that you didn't have any actual interaction with the person that lives there, but they were there the whole time. That makes absolutely no fucking sense at all. Makes no sense. Absolutely no fucking sense. I mean, 0 sense. Really. I mean, let's think about that. You go get invited to stay at someone's house and they are there and they're present. Okay. But then you say, well, I was there and I was coming and going and I had other business going on and there was people coming and going, but I didn't really ever interact with the person that owns the house. Seriously. All right. Good one. That makes a lot of sense. Amy, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. If you want to become a YouTube member, you can. And you can join the membership group. Just go on the bottom there. You'll hit join, and my membership start at $1.99, and I appreciate that. And I've been doing, trying to get some more members-only content up there for you guys. I've been working at that. We did a great live stream about a week ago, and I had Nan Gallagher, who is a lawyer, and we talked about some of the cases and members only. So let's see the question. Thank you the Queen. Thank you so much. This is your reaction to all of this. Thank you for the coverage. I appreciate your £5. We got a lot of people from England or overseas watching us today. And please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down in our chat, or you can comment after the video as well too. So yeah, I mean, let's just call it what it is. You know, let's not try to sugarcoat it. Like Andrew, we're going to call this shit out. And I love this report. This reporter in this report is awesome. She's not letting this guy skate at all. 0. All right, here we go.
You saw him after he was convicted.
Yes.
Did you see him or speak to him again?
No, that 2010 was it. That was it. Because I went, well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to go and see him, I had to make sure that there was enough time between his release, because it wasn't.
No, he fucking went there to be like, listen, Jeffrey, I'm not going to be able to hang out with you anymore. And we can still, like, talk. We're going to have to probably be in some, like, places that people can't see us. Well, the one thing I'm trying to figure out is, you going to fucking turn me into? They come for you? Are you going to turn out? You going to say something about me being all up in this shit? Is that what you're doing? I just want to make sure here. That's what was going on. Because the shit was going to hit the fan. The shit started coming down. And he's probably like, listen, you just got out of prison about a year or two ago, and probably know the feds are still hanging out and watching you. Are you gonna fucking roll over on me too? That's what it was. That's what this conversation was. That's what the visit was.
Something that I was going into in a hurry, but I had to go and see him.
Exactly.
I had to go and see him. I
And
had to
stay with him and stay in the house.
I
with a
could
convicted
easily have
sex
gone and
offender.
stayed somewhere else, but sheer convenience of being able to get a hold of the man was I mean,
You're in New York. Again, we're going back to, one of the grandest stages in the world. The money and power that this guy has, that he can't call a Motel 6 and say, hey, do you got a fucking room? Prince is coming in town. Hook me up. I don't want to stay at the Epstein mansion. I'm trying to back off. I'm trying to get away from this guy. No, what does he do? He runs there and stays at his house, takes walks out in Central Park, but doesn't know if Epstein's coming and going and barely saw him inside the mansion when he was there. Makes a lot of sense, right? Come on, bro.
He was in and out all over the place. So getting him in one place for a period of time to actually have a long enough conversation to say, look, these are the reasons why I'm not going to. And that happened on the walk.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and abusing dozens of underage
whack him
girls.
again.
One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend.
It
Your
happened.
response?
That's why I shook his head. Yeah.
Recollection of ever meeting this lady.
Come on, bro.
None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
She says she met you in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you.
Did you see him
bought
shake his head? She shook his head. Yes. Watch. Yeah. I met her.
Club
Watch.
in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend.
Look.
Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady.
I did not.
None whatsoever.
You don't
No.
remember meeting her?
No.
She says she met you in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you. You bought her drinks.
Yeah,
You were in
fuck yeah,
Tramp
we did.
nightclub in London.
Look at him. Yeah.
And she
we sure
went
did.
on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Do you remember her?
No. I have no recollection of ever meeting her. I'm convinced that I was never in Tramps with her. There are a number of things that are wrong with that story. One of which is that I don't know where the bar is in Tramps. I don't drink. I don't think I've ever bought a drink in Tramps whenever I was there.
Do you remember dancing?
So, and I get this. This is 2019. So why the civil settlement in 2022, sir? I wish we could go back. Let's bring him in for part 2 and then look at him and then say, well, this was the clip you said in 2019, said you didn't know Virginia. Then why the civil settlement in 2022? Can you explain that?
At Tramp?
No, that couldn't have happened because the date that is being suggested, I was at home with the children.
Right.
You know that you were at home with the children. Was it a memorable night?
On that particular day that we now understand is the date, which is the 10th of March, I was at home. I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at I suppose sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And then because the Duchess was away, we have a simple rule in the family that when one's away, the other one's there. I was on terminal leave at the time from the Royal Navy, so therefore I was at home.
Why would you remember that so specifically? Why would you remember a Pizza Express birthday and being at home?
Because going to Pizza Express in Woking is an unusual thing for me to do. A very unusual thing for me to do. I've only been to Woking a couple of times, and I remember it weirdly distinctly. As soon as somebody reminded me of it, I went, oh yes, I remember that.
Oh, Oh, I
But I
remember
have no
that.
recollection.
You remember that,
of
but you don't remember the conversations, the conversations you had with Epstein at his mansion townhouse in New York when you met with him to go, well, you know what? I can't be seen together anymore. There's people looking and they're watching. I know the FBI is probably checking you out. You're going to turn me in? You're going to roll over on me too?
meeting or being in the company or the presence.
So you're absolutely sure that you're at home on the 10th of March?
Yeah.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. And I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat. And it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid to say that
all right, let's see your medical documentation, though. I mean, I get it. You're probably not going to, but come on, bro. I don't sweat. Blinky, blinky, blinky. Yeah, exactly.
That says
Blinky,
that I didn't
blinky,
do it, so therefore.
Is it possible that you met Virginia Roberts, dined with her, danced with her in tramp, had sex with her on another date?
No.
Look at him
Do
smiling.
you remember meeting her at all?
No.
Do you know you didn't meet her, or do you just not remember meeting her?
I don't know if I've met her, but no, I have no recollection of meeting her.
Because she was very specific. She described the dance
Ask
that you
him
had
about
together
the
in
photo.
tramp. She described meeting you. She was a 17-year-old girl meeting a senior member of the royal family.
Never happened.
No.
She provided a photo of the two of you together. Your arm was around her waist.
Yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't. Because I have absolutely no memory of that photograph ever being taken.
Do you recognize yourself in the photo?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult not to recognize yourself.
Your friend suggested that the photo is fake.
I think it's from the investigations that we've done, you can't prove whether or not that photograph.
And again, I know, listen, this is a very, 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 very sensitive subject. Okay. I'm not laughing in comedy. I'm laughing about how preposterous this is. So I know a lot of people are going to probably hit me in the replay and go, oh, you're laughing. No, I'm laughing at how preposterous this guy is being right now. It's like, come on, bro. Like, you're caught. You're dead to rights. All right, let's keep playing here.
Faked or not, because it is a photograph of a photograph of a photograph. So it's very difficult to be able to prove it. But
it's a photograph.
I don't remember that photograph ever being taken.
But it's possible that it was you with your arm around
That's
her
me, but whether that's my hand or whether that's the position, I have simply no recollection of a photograph ever being taken.
The world has now seen the photo that Virginia Roberts provided, taken by Epstein, we understand, in Ghislaine Maxwell's house.
I don't know if you guys can still hear me. Did I come back yet? Let's see. I don't know if I'm still going on X. Am I still going on X? But we've been stream unavailable, stream suspended for policy violations. Okay. What are the policy violations? Wow, look at this. Shut down for talking about the Epstein files. All right, I'm going to go over and start another. And they're not going to let me come back. All right.